everyone, and welcome back to another GenMouse45 video, where today I'll be discussing the Dragon Prince's latest graphic novel, Dreamer's Nightmare. So yes, we're going to be discussing the review as well as final thoughts towards the end, so very excited to be uncovering the book. So a little bit of background information. The book was released on October 1st, 2024, and is the fourth graphic novel within the Dragon Prince series. The story is by Devin Gilhill, written by Nicole Andelfinger, and as always, it is illustrated by Filia Hanakata. Sorry if I butcher your names, I'm not very good at it. Alright, the story describes how young Callum and Ezran go to a village called Noct with their father, King Harrow, to find out what type of storm is brewing and who, or even what, is causing it. So I will say, spoilers ahead for the book, of course, Dragon Prince Season 6, as well as any past graphic novels, so spoilers be ahead. And then, of course, I'll be giving my reflections at the end. I do want to say I'm not sponsored by the show, not affiliated, just a fan wanting to cover the book and everything, just giving book review and 2 cents of it all. So, you see me looking off to the side, as always, I have my notes set up on my phone. So, here we go, story time. Okay, so it starts with King Harrow is talking with General Maya and Commander Gren about their travel to the village of Noct. King Harrow said he brought the boys along, so Callum and Ezran along, to give them an opportunity to bond with one another. However, during this whole discussion and everything, Ezran and Callum were washed up along the river on the shore, with Callum complaining about the things he does with Ezran and how he's always the brunt of the joke, I guess. He's always doing something. There is mention about raccoons and waterfalls, which is a callback to Season 1, Episode 9, how Callum's kind of dismissive, how Ezran can talk to animals. Remember that one time, raccoons at the waterfall, and Ezran's like, well, they were just being mischievous. This was a little incident that happened. Back in the graphic novel, Callum tells Ezran animals can't talk, and then the boys are greeted by King Harrow. King Harrow encourages Ezran to speak up and let Ezran think about it. King Harrow encourages Ezran to speak up, whatever's on your mind, just talk about it, but instead Ezran kind of opts to just think about it while they're on the road to the village. The boys get in a carriage and move about the road as Bait Tummy grumbles. The raccoons are shown to be eating the prince's food. Later that day, they all arrive to the village, and Mayor Oti expressed they should not have come. He's like, didn't you get our raven? And they're like, no. And in fact, they did. So he's just like, you shouldn't have come here. The mayor leads the way to a building where adults are in a deep sleep. Callum and Ezran walk around and overhear a group of children talking about a beast they saw in the sky. The adults said there was a storm and destroyed part of the town, leaving the adults in this state. Callum says something smelled off, and Ezran asks if it was bait. Callum says, well, yeah, bait does smell, but there is something else. Ezran says he has a bad feeling. Later that night, so this is all within the course of a day, so later that night, Mayor Oti, King Harrow, General Maya and Commander Gren are talking. On the other side of the door, Ezran and Callum are trying to listen in on the conversation. Ezran sees and talks to a rat, while Callum continues to listen at the door. The rat says humans make their own problems and then blame everyone and everything else for what the humans have done. The rat does not answer any of Ezran's questions and jumps away past Ezran, who leans back into Callum, and the door swings open. General Maya sees the boys to their rooms, but not after Callum and Ezran say that there is a monster about. Mayor Oti dismissed it as a way for the children. Mayor Oti dismissed it because he's like, well, the children are just trying to cope with their fears about what's going on, so that they have something to use to say that it was the monster putting their parents to sleep. Callum storms off, and the rat tells Ezran, better look next time. Ezran has a dream about a wind crashing into a window and sees an eye of a beast. He wakes up and meets Callum downstairs. When Ezran doesn't take the last jelly tart, Callum realizes there is something more going on. The two talk about monsters and dreams, and Callum decides they should go look for answers, quoting his mother that the best answer is the simplest one. Ezran listens in on Callum's speech until he sees the rat again, and Ezran chases the rat. Callum finds Ezran, who had just discovered a library, to which Callum is excited about. And I love the little panel of like Callum's face of just like, a library, because yeah, it's such a mood. It's so cute. Callum is ready to do some research while Ezran goes and talks to the rat. Ezran tries to use a book for a wall for the rat's home when he opens the book and sees a picture of a creature inside. He takes the book and brings it over to Callum. Callum stated the book had a bunch of fairy tales inside, and they are used to teach a lesson or a moral. Ezran felt that they were written for a reason, but Callum dismisses it, so Ezran returns the book back to the rat. The two discuss different fairy tales, one being the Pied Piper, but it had a bit of a different ending, realizing that fairy tales do teach lessons, but there were some truths in it. Later that evening, King Harrow meets with General Meyer and Commander Gren, saying the boys were to remain with them since it is better to be safest together rather than sending them back to Katalis. Callum meets with King Harrow, asking to go with him tomorrow, and King Harrow agrees on one condition, that Callum and Ezran stay close. Callum starts to complain about being a babysitter, but King Harrow reframes and thinks of it more as being a protector, like his mother was. Callum agrees to protect the future king of Katalis. The next day, they all ride out to the village, and the boys see a windmill. Callum wants to hear what the adults are saying, but Ezran pretends to lose Bait, so that way they could go see the windmill. So, Bait was on a mission. Get lost. And then Ezran's like, oh no, where's Bait? Callum's like, really? You just want to go see the windmill? He's like, yeah, I just want to go see the windmill. Pretty much how it went down. They go and investigate, as something scared Bait, who is now glowing. However, before they can go into the windmill, a storm appears. Ezran goes inside the windmill with Bait, and before Callum can follow, a piece of the windmill breaks off, causing Callum to panic as Ezran is trapped inside. Inside, Ezran calls out and meets a bat called Nimei, N-I-M-E-I. I'm going to say Nimei. No. I don't know. I wish there was like a little translator, because some of these names are just like, Yeah, it's just a cute little bat creature. But the bat is scared and says that it is safer to stay inside the windmill. Ezran tells the little bat it is better to be scared together than brave alone. The bat pouts but agrees. As the storm subsides, the little bat helps Ezran and Bait out, and Callum is glad to see that they're all okay. The two go back to the village and are greeted by King Harrow, who now says that they are going back to Katalis. Ezran hears the children describe the creature again. So we now see that the boys are being escorted home by some guards, and the little bat creature was stowed away in Ezran's shirt, and starts to warn Ezran that the storm is coming back. The storm blows over, yet the soldiers are now asleep. The boys agree whether the creature was real or not, and Ezran hears something from behind. And this is so cute. A little baby banther appears, and Callum tries to defend Ezran, like he's trying to be the protector and everything. Yet Ezran realizes that the baby banther was trying to play with them. So, he's trying to like use a stick to be like, back off. And the baby banther's like, oh, a toy. It's kind of like my cat. You have like a random stick or something, and Oliver's just like, toy. Pretty much. Let's see. The banther playfully attacks Ezran, teasing him about how scared he looked. The banther talks about the creature in the sky as Ezran scratches its ear. And I love how the little baby banther calls a little bat Nimei, a little sky chicken. I thought that was so funny. It's like, it's okay, little sky chicken. It's like, what? I never thought of it that way. Ezran and Callum decide to go back to the library and find any proof, as there might be something in the sky. And what's cute about this little scene too is that there's like a panel of Ezran talking to the animals. Like, like Ezran's like speaking, like the animals are all speaking. But in the next one, it's just like Ezran's just standing there, and then the animals are just making like the little noises because Callum can't hear them speaking. So it's just little screeches and meows and all this stuff because Callum can't hear the animals talk. I thought that was pretty clever. That was pretty well done. See, so Callum and Ezran make their way back to the village of Noct in search of the library to see if they can find any secrets or clues about what's going on. And they have to very carefully skirt around King Harrow and everybody else because they think they're on their way back to Catullus, but no. They manage to find the rat, whose name is Dionys. Usually know anything about it. I don't think the banther had a name. If so, correct me down below, but I think pretty much every other creature had a name except for the baby banther. I want to name it. Oh, some cute names. But yeah, they find the rat and talk to him about the storm and how the creature looked familiar. However, the banther pretends to be fierce and accidentally knocks over books and bookshelves. The boys are caught by General Maya and Commander Gren. The boys say that they want to continue helping, which General Maya is not happy with until a wind is heard outside. And Maya and Gren leave, and the little bat panics, saying they smell something close, and the panther agrees, saying the beast was here. Callum and Ezran run outside, as the creature can be seen by them and not the adults. The creature blows a deep gust of wind, knocking back the adults, and with the storm subsiding, the boys go and see that King Harrow has fallen into a deep sleep. Callum is frustrated about what to do next, but Ezran hears something. Together, they help a small child from under the rubble. The child talks about how the monster was a dragon. They work together to help the other children and meet a red deer creature named Kuza. Ezran helped bandage Kuza's leg. Callum attempts to calm the children down, but Ezran takes charge in delegating someone to look after the children and move them to safety. Callum is impressed by Ezran taking charge, just like his father. The two then decide to head to the quarry, where the villagers were getting stone from to help build their village. Callum is a bit confused about Ezran's new animal pals, but Ezran says to think of it as a security system, because the animals have been hearing, seeing, smelling things, and alerting Ezran before the storm approaches. The two look around, but Ezran falls into the ground and they find a mural of a creature on it. Callum said it felt familiar and realized it was a temple from a long time ago. Callum puts it all together and says he saw it in the book Ezran gave him, the one that he took from the rat. Callum's like, it's just fairy tales. Don't overthink it. So now they have to go back to the library. Yay! You see a pattern here? See the system? Ezran does not have the book on him, as Callum said it was all just fairy tales. However, the creature and the storm appear again. Callum runs out to protect Ezran, but the creature starts to fly towards the town. The animals start to follow the creature, and the boys realize they need to go back to the library again. Inside the library, Ezran gets the book from the rat and goes back outside, with the rat complaining about the noise outside and telling Ezran to not do anything that he would do. Callum opens the book and points to a picture of the same creature that was inside the temple. Ezran said that the fairy tales are based on truth, and that the story could help tell what it is and how to stop it. Ezran decided to check on the children and let them know what is coming, and Callum tries to stop him because he promised King Harrow he would keep him safe. Ezran knew Callum would keep him safe, but that Callum could help Ezran do this one thing, which is reading the book since it is in cursive, and Ezran cannot read cursive, which meant Callum had to read and figure out what the creature was and how to stop it. Callum agrees, and Ezran promises to be safe. Ezran goes outside with the creature towering over him. Callum starts to read the story of a dream warden who befriended a child. The child would appear in the dreams, and the warden was not allowed to be close to the child, but the dream warden did anyway, and the two went on many dreamed adventures. Then one night the child did not appear, or the next night, or the night after. The dream warden searched for the child, letting out sorrow, fear, and anger, releasing its nightmares. Then one day the dream warden found the child, who was now all grown up and did not remember the dreamed adventures. The dream warden was saddened at the thought and returned to its temple, where it vowed never to make another mortal friend again. The dream warden settled into his sleep, heart as cold as the temple where it lies. Callum is not pleased with the ending, but wondered out loud what could be causing the creature to be upset. Callum goes outside and tells Ezran about the story and how the creature was asleep, and when it woke up, part of the temple was gone because the villagers were using the rocks and stones for houses, homes, roads, and even the statue. Callum says the dream warden lost a friend, and Ezran takes it upon himself to go into a sleep caused by the creature. In the dream, Ezran is greeted by the creature. Ezran talks to the creature, saying he is sorry for how the creature felt after he lost a friend, and how he went through something familiar, losing his mother and not even knowing her since he was a baby when she died in battle shortly after he was born. He talked about Callum looking after him and being a protective older brother, and noticed how there is this one time a year when he appears sad and won't even draw. Despite all that, Ezran acknowledges Callum as his brother, and that one person believing in you is to help you through sad times which matter the most. Ezran empathizes with the creature, saying how the creature probably did not feel like himself anymore. Ezran tells the creature that it's easy to lose ourselves if we don't let others in. At that moment, the three creatures, so Kuza, the deer, the bat, and the panther, nuzzle up to the creature and cause the creature to have like a piece of themselves, transforming the creature into something new. Ezran lets the creature know how there were children in the village who would love to be the creature's friend. The creature then disappears and Ezran wakes up. Others start waking up around them. Callum gives Ezran a hug, saying that Ezran had a gift talking to others. Ezran runs over and hugs King Harrow, who is confused about what happened. The boys say something about a temple and about, like the building and everything, and the villagers start blaming elves for releasing some sort of cursed magic. Ezran mumbles to himself about humans always blaming everyone but themselves. Later that day, Callum says to Ezran that their mother would be proud of him, and Ezran agrees, saying that she would be proud of Callum as well. Ezran said that the book that he found and the animals that he befriended helped on their journey, and Callum tries to say his detective skills helped, but Ezran is not buying it, saying Callum acted like a jerk about it. Callum asks for a quick apology, but Ezran says it would take more than just saying I'm sorry. Callum then starts to dance around, saying that he is a huge jerk, and to which this is when the jerk face dance was born. Ezran laughs and gives Callum a big hug. In the carriage, Callum shows off a new drawing, which is actually the creature transformed, and Ezran laughs. Callum is confused, but Ezran says he will tell him another time. And that's pretty much where the story ends, so yeah, give some final thoughts to it. So what I really enjoyed about the book was like how brightly colored it was. The last couple of books, like the first one was like blues and purples, the second one was like mostly red, the third one was like purple and black, but this is like blues and reds, some greens, a little bit of purple here and there. So it was like on the Amazon website, #not sponsored, and like getting the book and everything, I'm just like, wow, this book is so bright. So yeah, it's definitely brighter. I was shocked in the first couple panels seeing Gren with long hair. I was almost like, that's not Commander Gren. And then like the side profile and everything, because they're much younger and everything, and I was like, oh my gosh, Gren with long hair. It's not like super long, but it's longer than it is in the show, and I was just like so shocked. So shocked. Let me see. So overall, compared to the other books, I feel like this one had a lot more dialogue in it. I think I said in my Puzzle House review, like that one felt like more pictures, like more transition sequence. There was some dialogue, but not a whole bunch. This one was everybody was very chatty. It's almost like every single panel there's like somebody has something to say or anything like that. Not only that, I do feel like this story does kind of drag out. Like it's kind of like slowly piecing together like what's kind of happening. But I do feel like it is a good way to kind of build that good character development between Callum and Ezran and how close they became. Because even like going back and like rewatching the show, I'm just like, you wouldn't even be able to know like they're half brothers because they act like real brothers all the time. But to see like a moment in time where they're both kind of like struggling, like that brotherly bond and getting along, they're both dealing with their grief in different ways, but now, this like one adventure and doing the jerk face dance, I'm sure, kind of like helped solidify like their brotherly bond. And you really see that in the seasons or books or whatever they're called. As always, I really enjoy the art design and the style. I really feel like they do a really good job. Just like the little details, like it's such a beautifully well done graphic novel. I really loved it. Ezran uses empathy, it's super effective, so I really enjoyed seeing him kind of like stand up and like help others, protecting others at such a young age, and like Callum's already like seeing like King Harrow in him, and you definitely see that. I feel like in the later seasons, not so much the first couple of seasons, because Ezran's like, oh, like hope and light, and we can all be friends, and it's like, no, Ezran, like, can't all be friends. So yeah, it was nice to see that he could, like from a young age, like kind of direct people and say like, this is what we're gonna do, this is how we're gonna do it, even though he's a kid. Like he was still trying to look out for people. I think what also makes it dialogue-y, if that's even a word, is like now we can see the animals like talking. Like in the show, you can kind of see like Ezran like talking to them, but you don't hear the animals speak. So it's just kind of like him like looking at the animal, nodding, or I'll laugh or something if the animal says something funny. The only time I really got to see him like talking was whenever like he communicates telepathically with Pyrrha in the one reflection story. But in this book, you get to see the animals like talking. You get to see their words and everything. Like I said, for that one panel where it's just like the meows and the squeaks, and Callum's just like, like it's pretty much what we would see. But Ezran gets to hear that dialogue, so it's different because we have well, I guess General Mai at this point. She's Queens in later seasons. I guess that's spoilers, but yeah, we get to see a little bit of American Sign Language being used, like, like thank you and stuff like that. And I thought that was really nice. Like, it's kind of helping teaching sign language. Like, just like simple signs, not like a whole blown conversation, but I thought that was really nice to see as well. Yeah, I did notice like Callum was quoting his mom a lot, like, mom used to say this or mom used to say that. So I think, Callum's still grieving the late Queen Sarai. Of course, like in the seasons, you kind of see it too. And that takes place like after like that cold winter, and they were like trying to help the lands and everything. I think, Viren tells that story and everything. So yeah, it's just, I guess that was his way of like grieving. I do like how Ezra even pointed out how he notices Callum's grief, how he gets like kind of quiet during one point of the year to the point where he doesn't want to draw. It's like Callum is always with his sketchbook, he's always doodling something, and whenever he doesn't draw, it's just kind of like, something's up. So, yeah, I wouldn't say like it's good to see that, but it's nice to see like that representation of like grief and what it looks like. So, because we all grieve differently. So I was happy to see the jerk face dance, excited to see how that originated. So, because when watching the show the first time, I'm just like, what is Callum doing? Like, he's gonna pull a muscle because he's such a little guy and everything. And like seeing how the jerk face dance was created and all that, it was pretty funny. So I hope we get to see at least one more time. Season 7. I don't know if we will, because it's probably gonna be very, very serious, very dark, which is, of course, the title of the season, but it's funny. Maybe I'll put in my upcoming short story work with the Dragon Prince. We'll see. Let me see. And then just one more final thought. I felt like it was much more philosophical. Like, usually with like the first couple books, there was like one main theme or lesson. Like, the first one was like, little white lies, what you tell yourself, something. Oh gosh, I can't remember. It was like the white lies. And the second one was like, really don't do this, really don't do that, really does it anyway. Yeah, pretty much the entire Dragon Prince season. Don't do this, does it anyway. Yeah. Third one was just figuring out puzzles and like where did he go and all that. Yeah, it just felt like the first couple graphic novels, they would just be like little short, like just one like lesson being repeated, but this one had like several like little lessons here and there, like, like the best questions or simple or something like that. Like, Callum about like, like questions, answers, being simple. There's like the Pied Piper story, like what kind of lesson did that teach? How humans ruin everything and then try to blame other people, stuff like that. So, there's definitely a lot of like little lessons here and there. So, but it all kind of tied in at the end. It was just, creature felt lonely, creature went and hid away. But then once they started building up that temple, or not the temple, they were destroying the temple to make like their village and stuff, then I was like, oh no. I know. So, but no, the princes were there. to help. So yeah, definitely enjoyed reading it. It's definitely different material than what I'm used to reading. So reading a lot about like, you know, for work stuff like schizophrenia, like fears of death and dying. So this was like a little nice change of pace to kind of read through. So yeah, overall enjoyed it. Dreamer's Nightmares. So highly enjoyed it. So not only that, but it comes in the middle between season 6 and season 7. So very excited / nervous / anxious / like about season 7. So hopefully here soon, once it comes out, I'll be joining with some friends and we'll be talking about it over on Demon Interviews. Make sure you go check out Demon Interviews of our little review and everything. So I'll have other videos linked down below of the Dragon Prince, but overall, very excited. So it was a really well done story. That pretty much wraps up my thoughts and review, reflection, if you will, of Dreamer's Nightmare. But do let me know, have you read the story? What are some of your thoughts? And even predictions for season 7, because I'm pretty excited about it. So excited to see what the story unfolds. And hopefully we get arc 3. I would love to see them all grown up and like what they're doing. Like so far, I might be working on like a fan fiction thing. Yes, it's gonna involve Raylan. Everything involves Raylan in my head, so that'd be so cute though if they did like a graphic novel like years later or something. Not like years later, but like them like all grown up and stuff. They have kids, and those kids have to go find like dragons. I have so many ideas. It's such a good series, so yeah, be sure to check it out. It's on Netflix, not sponsored, but good show, good writing, good characters. Good stuff. So, alright, so let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace, love, and kindness. Bye, everyone!